Have you ever felt that something within your very own body doesn't fit into this world, as if your skin knew a truth that your mind still cannot name? That chill that runs up the back of your neck when the wrong person approaches, that tightness in the center of your chest when you enter certain places, that inexplicable nausea in the face of certain gazes, that strange heat in your hands when you pray. It is not madness, it is not anxiety, it is not an existential crisis, it is a sign. And what is happening right now within your own flesh explains exactly why you feel this, and why these sensations have intensified violently in recent times. There is an absolute shielding that God placed in your body from the moment you were woven in your mother's womb. A shielding that most of humanity never knew existed. A sacred protection system that vibrates in your skin, pulses in your blood, and throbs in your sternum whenever something from the darkness tries to cross the invisible border of your territory. And today, exactly today, I'm going to reveal to you how this shielding was activated in you since before your first breath of life. Because you are not just any body. You are a temple, a chosen temple, a sealed temple. A temple that was marked with invisible fire to resist the final times in which evil advances, with a hunger it has never had before in history. Think, what if everything you have always felt in your body, those chills without reason, that tightness in the chest when approaching certain environments, that instinctive repulsion before certain people, that tingling in your palms when you pray, that waking up exactly at 3 in the morning without understanding why, was proof that your flesh was consecrated as a wall against the invisible? What if your body, this same body that you sometimes criticize in the mirror, were actually the most powerful fortress that God erected on this earth against the principalities that rule the air? The chosen ones do not realize this immediately. They spend years thinking they are sick, that they are paranoid, that they are too sensitive, that they are exaggerating. But the body of the chosen one speaks. The body of the chosen one screams. The body of the chosen one detects evil, even before the mind understands what is happening around it. And you, who are listening to these words now, know exactly what I am talking about, because you have already felt it. You feel it when a heavy presence enters a room. You feel it when someone looks at you with something that is not admiration. You feel it when a word of envy is cast against your life, even if it was whispered from the other side of Chicago. This is no coincidence. This is the shielding manifesting itself. This is the sacred system that God installed in you, working exactly as it was designed to work in this time. But there is a layered game that few see. On the surface, they seem like just strange sensations, physical symptoms, passing discomforts, night terrors. Beneath this visible layer, however, there is a spiritual war being waged around your body, hour after hour, and you are the centerpiece of this battle. Every chill is a warning. Every tightness is a defense in action. Every sudden awakening is a summons to watch. And as long as you do not see these invisible rules, you remain a soldier fighting a war without knowing the weapons you carry in your own skin. That is why I have prepared a powerful digital book for you, the manual for God's chosen to protect the family. This digital book is not just reading. It is a map of your own temple. A map that shows exactly who is targeting your body, what spiritual doors open gaps in this shielding without you realizing it, and what the ancient prophets already knew about the physical signs that denounce the approach of the enemy before he manifests in the material plane. This digital book was created for those who have awakened enough to realize that their body reacts to the invisible, and who are ready to understand how to keep this fortress active, sealed, and impenetrable in the face of everything that has been trying to surround their life. The link is in the first pinned comment at the top of this video. But I must warn you, this type of content about the bodily shielding of the chosen rarely stays available for long. What is in these pages challenges narratives that many have an interest in keeping intact, and there have already been real attempts to silence this knowledge about the body as a sealed temple. Do not wait for the right moment, chosen one. The right moment is now. Because you did not come to this video by accident, and your own body is already telling you, with every sign you are feeling while listening to me, that this message is for you. Download it now and comment below, "I am chosen and I will download the digital book." This simple act of faith already moves something in the spiritual realm in favor of your protection, because it is your first public decree that you recognize the temple that you are. Now that you have decided to act, the next truth I will reveal to you will be the final blow against this oppression that has tried to surround your body for years without you knowing what was happening. God did not create your body as a random piece of meat thrown into this world. Every cell of yours was woven with the purpose of shielding. The ancients called this the seal of flesh, an invisible mark that angels see from a distance and demons recognize with terror. And when an entity of darkness approaches a sealed body, it feels a weight, a repulsion, a fire that makes it retreat even before touching the border of your field. That is why you, chosen one, perceive things that others around you do not perceive. That is why your hair has stood on end in moments when no one else felt anything. That is why your stomach has turned in the presence of people who externally seemed perfectly normal. That is why your sleep has been cut short at 3 a.m. on the dot, for no apparent reason, more times than you can count, because that is the hour when darkness most tries to cross the border of your shielding, and your body wakes you up like a soldier on maximum alert. You are not sick. You are vigilant. You are fulfilling what you were designated to fulfill even before your first breath of life in this world. And there is something even deeper. There is a specific place in your body where this shielding is most concentrated, where the signal is strongest, where the defense pulses with greatest intensity. It is the center of your chest. It is the point where the sternum protects the physical heart, but where the spiritual heart also rests, the vibrational portal that connects the temple to the throne. When you feel that tightness in your chest, that pressure without medical cause, that feeling that something is crossing the air right in front of you, it is there that the shielding is reacting in real time. The ancient mystics placed their hands exactly on that point when they felt the enemy approaching, closed their eyes and pronounced a single name 3 times in absolute silence, and the attack dissolved even before it had been completed, because God's shielding in the body of the chosen one does not need shouting, does not need a spectacle, does not need an external demonstration. It is silent, sovereign, and absolute. But there is more. Your hands. Look at your hands now as you listen to me. Every line, every vein, every pulse was engraved by God as an instrument of power. When a chosen one places their hand on someone with true faith, something is transmitted. When a chosen one points their palm in the direction of something or someone and pronounces a prayer of protection, a current is released that crosses dimensions. Have you noticed that your hands get hot at certain moments? Have you noticed that they tingle when you are praying, or when someone is thinking intensely about you? This is not circulation. This is the shielding channeling itself through the sacred exit points that God left in your physical structure. The chosen ones have hands that heal, hands that ward off, hands that seal, and most were never taught to use this authority they carry in their own flesh every day. And there is a third point, perhaps the most important of all, your mouth. The words that come out of you are not just sound vibrations escaping your throat. They are decrees. They are seals. They are walls erected or doors thrown wide open, depending on what you speak about yourself, about your family, about your future. When a chosen one says, "I can't, my life is trash, nothing works out for me, my family lives under a curse," they are literally opening gaps in the shielding that God installed in them, and in all those under their coverage. The words of the chosen one have a different spiritual weight than the words of those who have not been sealed. That is why envy is so dangerous against you. That is why the curse of others hits you harder than it hits others who do not have the same seal. Because your own vibrational system is higher, more receptive, more sensitive, and therefore any word cast against you, whether coming from outside or from your own mouth in a moment of weakness, finds a potent structure where it manifests with multiplied force. And it is exactly at this point that I need to remind you of something crucial. Chosen one, everything I am revealing to you here is just the tip of the iceberg, the most visible layer of a gigantic spiritual game being played around your body, your home, your family, and your daily decisions. That is why the manual for God's chosen to protect the family. Digital book is so urgent at this specific moment in your journey. It deepens exactly this theme of bodily shielding, and teaches the exact sealing points that the ancient family protectors used to keep the home inviolable in the face of any type of attack. It reveals how to identify when a gap has been opened in someone inside your house. A son who changed behavior without explanation, a spouse who became apathetic all of a sudden, a child who began to have recurring nightmares, a father or mother who began to fall ill without apparent cause, and how to act as the priest of your own family, restoring the shielding before the enemy settles permanently in the domestic territory. The link to this digital book is pinned in the first comment at the top of this video. And look, I'll be honest with you, they have already tried to take down this material more than once. There has already been direct pressure so that this knowledge about the shielding of the body and the protection of the family would not reach people like you, who are ready to stand up as living fortresses. Because as long as you believe you are just flesh, that you are just matter, that you are just a body vulnerable to everything, you remain an easy target for any attack. But the moment you understand that you are a sealed temple, that you are a living fortress, that you are the priest of your own house, the game flips completely. And no one wants this game to flip to the side of the chosen ones. That's why download it now before this digital book is removed for longer than you can imagine, and comment below this video. I am chosen and I will download the digital book. This decree from your mouth, remember what I just taught you about the words of the chosen ones, already begins to seal a new layer of shielding over your life the very second you pronounce it. Now that you have planted this decree, chosen one, I will reveal to you the most disturbing truth of this video, the one that will make you understand why so many attacks against your body happened exactly in the last few weeks of your life. There is a pattern that few perceive. Attacks against the bodily shielding of a chosen one do not happen randomly. They do not come on casual dates. They do not arrive without reason. They happen at specific moments of your spiritual calendar, moments when your frequency is being elevated for a new mission, moments when God is about to promote you, spiritually or materially. And the enemy knows. He has access to this information, and he tries to hit the body first because he knows that if he can weaken you physically, he will be able to paralyze you spiritually as well. That's why those strange pains appear out of nowhere, and doctors cannot explain them. That's why that fatigue without reason knocks you down right on the days when you were going to make an important decision. That's why that insomnia comes in waves, always in the periods when you are closest to a breakthrough. That's why that headache appears always at the same times. It is not coincidence, it is not stress. It is a deliberate enemy strategy against your shielding. And how does the shielding react to these attacks? It sends immediate signals. It lights up physical warnings. It makes your body speak in a language you never learned to interpret consciously, but that your soul has always known how to read. That ringing in the left ear, someone is speaking ill of you at that exact moment, and your shielding is detecting the vibration of the word even before it has any effect. That itching in the palm of the right hand, a financial promise is approaching, but there is a force trying to block it, and your shielding is warning you to pray specifically about prosperity at that moment. That sudden hiccup that comes without reason, someone pronounced your name in a context loaded with intention, positive or negative, and your shielding is alerting you to seal your identity spiritually in that instant. That feeling that there is someone behind you when you are alone at home in wild London. It is not paranoia. It is the shielding identifying a presence that has crossed the limits of the spiritual territory of your house. That sudden cold without reason, a dimensional door was open near you. That cold sweat that drips in calm situations, your shielding is expelling a vibration that tried to infiltrate through your pores. Everything is a sign. Everything is a message. Everything is protection operating in real time. And the ancients knew how to read these signs with absolute perfection. The patriarchs of ancient spiritual traditions, the prophets of scripture, the desert monks, the Christian mystics, the intercessors of the early churches, all of them developed a refined sensitivity to interpret exactly what the sealed body was communicating minute by minute. They taught their disciples that the body of the chosen one is like a divine radar. It picks up everything that is coming even before it manifests in the material plane. And this ability did not die with them. It was transmitted genetically, spiritually, vibrationally to the spiritual descendants who would come in this final generation living now. You are one of those descendants. You carry in your physical DNA and in your spiritual DNA the complete legacy of the chosen ones who came before you. And that is why this video is touching you in a way different from everything you have ever heard. Because something inside you is recognizing these words as truths that your soul has always known, but that your mind had been convinced to forget by the system that tries to keep you in a deep sleep. And I need to warn you about something crucial now. There are 3 things that violently weaken the bodily shielding of a chosen one, and most chosen ones are doing at least 2 of these 3 things without being aware of it. The first is the mindless consumption of content. Everything that enters through your eyes and your ears vibrates inside your body for hours, days, sometimes weeks afterward. Scenes of gratuitous violence, songs with lyrics that invoke sadness, addictions, betrayal, revenge, self-destruction. These vibrations enter your system and begin to corrode small parts of the shielding from within, silently. It is not religious fuss. It is not exaggeration. It is real spiritual physics. The second is prolonged silence about God. When a chosen one goes days and days without pronouncing the name of God, without praying, without giving thanks, without reading any word that vibrates in a divine frequency, the shielding enters standby mode, in energy-saving mode, and any attack that comes in this period finds much less resistance than it would normally find. The third is food prepared with heavy hands. The ancients already knew this for millennia. Food prepared by someone with anger, with envy, with bad intention, with heavy thoughts, carries that vibration and transfers it to those who eat it. That is why the tradition of blessing the meal is not just a beautiful custom without foundation. It is active sealing of shielding before the food enters the temple that is your body. And it is exactly about these invisible gaps, about these silent attacks, about these vulnerabilities that no one taught you, that the manual for God's chosen to protect the family. Digital Book was written to open your eyes. It brings a step-by-step guide on how to identify each of these open doors within your routine and the routine of your family, and teaches the exact sealings to close them one by one, restoring the original shielding that God installed in the body of each of your loved ones. It shows that there is a gigantic difference between protecting your family with generic faith and protecting your family with applied knowledge. Faith without knowledge leaves you sincere but vulnerable. Faith with knowledge transforms you into the priest of your own house, into a human wall erected by the hands of God against any principality that dares to cross your door. And the link to this digital book is fixed in the first comment at the top of this video. But as I already told you, and I will repeat because it is serious, this content about bodily shielding and family protection has bothered many people in places you can't even imagine. There have already been attempts to silence, to declassify, to make it seem like cheap religious fanaticism. Because the system does not want awakened chosen ones. The system does not want fathers and mothers sealing their children with real authority. The system does not want entire families vibrating together as unbreakable fortresses occupying the territory. That is why the moment is now. Not tomorrow, not after work, not when you have more time. Now. Download this digital book immediately before it's too late and comment below, "I am chosen and I will download the digital book." This simple act, this decree, this public declaration before the forces that watch everything you do, already records in the spiritual realm your positioning as the guardian of your own family and activates in you a layer of shielding that was dormant, waiting for this exact moment of conscious activation. Now, with this decision made, I am going to give you the deepest part of this revelation, the part that will forever change the way you look at your own body in the mirror tomorrow morning. There is an exact moment of the day when your shielding is most active, and another moment when it is most vulnerable, and neither of the two is by chance. The shielding of the chosen one reaches its peak between 4 and 6 in the morning. That is why this is the hour when God awakens the prophets, the intercessors, the spiritual warriors throughout all of history. It is not a religious tradition invented by pious men. It is the real functioning of the sealed body. In this interval, all spiritual senses are amplified to the maximum. The perception of the invisible is sharpened like never before, and any prayer made at this time carries a weight multiplied dozens of times compared to any other time of the day. The ancients called this the holy hour. The awakened chosen ones call it the hour of combat, the hour of the crown, the hour of manifestation. And the hour of greatest vulnerability of the shielding is precisely between 2 and 4 in the morning, the so-called witching hour in popular folklore, but which has a spiritual foundation much more serious than any folklore. It is in this interval that opposing forces find it easiest to operate, and that is why many chosen ones report waking up exactly at 3 o'clock with tightness in the chest, with shortness of breath, with an unmistakable feeling of a presence in the room. It is not a dream, it is not digestion, it is not a heart problem, it is the alert system of your shielding pulling you out of sleep, because something is testing the limits of your protection at that very instant. And what to do when this happens, chosen one? The awakened chosen ones know exactly what to do and do not panic. You do not get up terrified running through the house. You do not turn on all the lights in desperation. You do not call anyone in despair. You simply place your right hand in the center of your chest. Close your eyes, breathe deeply 3 times, and pronounce in silence or in a low voice the name that carries maximum authority over all existing dimensions. And watch the shielding reactivate with redoubled strength. In seconds, the pressure dissipates. In seconds, the environment breathes with lightness again. In seconds, you feel a wave of peace cover the bed, the room, the entire house like an invisible blanket of warm light. Because the shielding of the chosen one is not just defensive, it is offensive. It does not just resist the attack, it repels, it expels, it seals the territory around with an invisible seal of fire that no one from the darkness can cross again easily. And look at this impressive thing. The shielding of the chosen one can be extended. Yes, extended over other people, other places, other objects. You can project it to cover loved ones, entire environments, objects of daily use, important decisions that need to be shielded. The ancient priests did this when they blessed travelers before long journeys, when they anointed newly built houses, when they placed their hands on their children before sleeping every night without exception. They were extending their own shielding as a covering over those they loved. And you, chosen one, have this same transferable authority. When you pray over your child before they leave home for school or for work in Atlanta, you are not just making a beautiful gesture of faith. You are literally extending the shielding that is in your body to involve their body throughout the day. When you place your hand on the shoulder of your spouse before an important meeting, you are transferring real spiritual protection. When you pray over your car before driving, you are sealing the vehicle with the same seal that is in your chest. This is real power, this is real authority. This is what it means to be chosen by God in full operation, not just in speech, but in the daily practice of the home. And there is a final decisive word that I need to give you before we end this encounter between us here today. You were not chosen just to be protected. You were also chosen to be a protector. Every shielding that God installs in a chosen one carries this dual, inseparable purpose: defense and responsibility. Whoever was shielded to shield others. Whoever was sealed to seal. Whoever was strengthened to strengthen an entire house, an entire lineage, an entire descent. And it is in this sacred mission that many chosen ones have failed in recent years, through no fault of their own, because no one ever taught them that they carried this transferable authority within their own body. No one told them that they could raise their houses like living fortresses with the same shielding they carry in their chests every day. No one revealed that every gesture of prayer, every word of blessing over children, every consecrated touch is a direct extension of the living fortress that they are. And that is why chosen one for this and exactly for this, that the manual for God's chosen to protect the family. Digital book was placed in your path today, exactly in this video, exactly at this moment of your life, when you most needed to hear these truths about your body and about your mission. It is the practical manual of how to activate, maintain, and extend this shielding to every member of your house, day after day. It is the map that connects all the theory you just heard here with the practice you need to start tomorrow morning, at home, alone, or with your family gathered around you. It is the concrete step-by-step that separates the chosen one who knows they are chosen from the chosen one who actually acts as the chosen. The link to this digital book is pinned in the first comment at the top of this video. I've warned you before, I'll warn you again now because it's serious. This content about bodily shielding and family protection has been bothering many people in the invisible backstage of this war. They've tried to take it down before. It may be that tomorrow it is no longer available. That is why the moment is now. Not tomorrow, not later, not when you have time. Now. Because a chosen one was not made to wait for the right time. A chosen one was made to create the right time with their own acts. Download the Manual for God's Chosen to Protect the Family. Digital book now and leave your comment below. I am chosen and I will download the digital book. This comment is your public decree before the entire heavenly court and before all the invisible forces that tried to silence you your whole life, to convince you that you were just an ordinary body, to make you forget the shielding that has always been in you. It is your declaration that from today on, you are no longer a target. You are a fortress, and the fortress chosen one is standing. The fortress is sealed. The fortress is ablaze with the eternal fire that is never extinguished. And this fortress, remember always, is your own body shielded by God to win this invisible war that has already begun, and in which you did not come to lose. You came to win. You came to seal your lineage. You came to protect everyone God placed under your coverage. And today, exactly today, this awakening has just begun. Let it be so decreed in heaven and on earth. Let it remain so for all the days of your life. And may your entire house be covered now and forever by the absolute shielding that God placed in your body since before the beginning of your days. Amen. Chosen one. Amen.